My sister-in-law, Grace, was utterly convinced that the fatter a woman was, the luckier she brought her husband. To get fat as quickly as possible, she wanted to undergo surgery to replace her stomach with a cow's. I pleaded with her not to mess with her body, even finding countless articles and videos to show her. Frightened, she eventually realized the dangers of obesity. In that past life, she successfully lost weight and gave birth to a healthy, adorable pair of twins. Grace called me her lifesaver. But when my brother's company went bankrupt, she turned on me. She hated me for making her lose weight, for supposedly ruining my brother's fortune. In a heated argument, she pushed me down the stairs. When I opened my eyes again, I was back. Back to the very moment Grace first proposed the idea of replacing her stomach with a cow's. This time, there would be no intervention from me. Instead, I wanted to watch her transform into a monster with my own eyes. Dawn, there's a saying, the fatter a woman, the luckier she brings her husband. Your brother's company is doing so well precisely because I'm fat enough, Grace declared, shoveling rice into her mouth from a large bowl, praising herself through full cheeks. Your brother wants the company to go public, so it seems I need to get even fatter, but I've hit my limit. For months now, I've been stuck at 125 kilograms, not budging. She had heard a folk remedy. If she could get a cow's stomach, she could eat nonstop every day and her weight would balloon like a rapidly inflating balloon. Dawn, you're a university student, you're knowledgeable. Tell me, is this method even possible? Grace sadly put down her spoon. Her eyes, almost swallowed by her plump face, looked at me with eager anticipation. Looking at the familiar scene before me, I knew for certain I had been reborn. In my past life, Grace had asked me the exact same question. With a sense of responsibility, I had searched online, found numerous articles and videos, and shown them to her. Only then did she abandon that insane idea and start to lose weight for her own health. After her successful weight loss, she safely gave birth to a healthy and adorable pair of twins. She told everyone I was her lifesaver. But when my brother's company went bankrupt, she resented me, blaming me for making her lose weight and destroying my brother's financial luck. During an argument, she pushed me down the stairs. This time, I wouldn't stop her. I wanted to watch her, powerless, as she turned herself into a monster. When she didn't get an answer, Grace grabbed my hand and shook it vigorously. Dawn, say something. I pulled my hand away from her greasy, fleshy grip, shaking my head. Grace, I'm not a doctor. How would I know about things like this? You should really discuss it with Mom and Leo. After all, your weight is connected to Leo's financial luck, right? Seeing that I wasn't trying to stop her, Grace looked a little bewildered. Dawn, you always used to tell me to eat less, and that being too fat wasn't good for my health. Why are you acting so differently today? I couldn't let Grace get suspicious just yet. I had to appease her. Grace, it's just that I suddenly understood. Leo earns so much money, it's all thanks to you bringing him good fortune. Don't worry, from now on, I'll never advise you to lose weight again. You are now the greatest contributor to our family. Eat as much as you want. Hearing my explanation, Grace's fleeting suspicion vanished. Dawn, you're right. Women like us don't have any other skills. The only thing we can do is eat until we're fat to bring good fortune to our husbands. I feigned a nod in agreement. Whatever Grace said was right. She could take her time eating. There was plenty more in the kitchen. After settling Grace, I quickly went to the balcony to pack my clothes. Since my brother Leo opened his food factory, our family had moved to a larger house. But even so, I was still relegated to sleeping on the balcony, freezing in winter and baking in summer. As I dragged my suitcase into the living room, my mother, Brenda, brought Grace another large bowl of pork hock. Grace munched on it with greasy lips, while Brenda watched her with a look of utter satisfaction. Her gaze was like one fixed upon a prized, plump sow. Brenda turned and saw me with my suitcase, and the smile instantly vanished from her face. You wretched girl, where do you think you're going? I'm the only one cooking for your sister-in-law. Do you want me to work myself to death? In my past life, after I died, my mother and brother protected Grace by telling the police that I had accidentally fallen from the stairs. From the moment I died in that life, I had stopped hoping for any family affection. The woman before me was merely my biological mother. Mom, my company is sending me on a business trip, I lied casually. Grace, hearing this, sneered dismissively. Dawn, let me tell you that measly job of yours, you should just quit it. Your brother earns so much money, he can easily support you. Of course, you should also contribute. Just stay home with me, eat until you're fat, and bring good fortune to your brother. At Grace's suggestion, Brenda immediately raised both hands in approval. Grace, you're right. Dawn, call your boss and resign right now. Your pathetic salary isn't even enough for one of your sister-in-law's meals. I knew exactly what these two were planning. My mother wanted to offload the chore of cooking for Grace, while Grace simply couldn't stand seeing me slender and beautiful. Though her mouth claimed, the fatter, the luckier. Every time she saw me in a nice dress, her eyes betrayed an undisguised envy. When Grace first married Leo, she weighed only 40 kilograms, 88 pounds, a petite and pretty beauty. But ever since she was indoctrinated with the idea of a fat woman bringing prosperity, she started gaining weight. Whether it was coincidence or pure luck, after she got fat, Leo's business truly did prosper. Amidst Leo's daily praises, Grace lost herself, eating more and more until she became even fatter. I watched Grace stuffing pork hock into her mouth with both hands, then praised her just like Leo would. Grace, Leo's achievements today are all thanks to you. You are truly the goddess of wealth for our Vu family. For Leo to marry such a lucky wife, it's truly a sign that our ancestors' graves are smoking with good fortune. As Grace floated on a cloud of flattery, I subtly shifted my tone. If Grace doesn't mind me sharing your credit, I'd be willing to stay home and eat to bring good fortune to Leo too. Grace instantly felt a surge of panic, fearing I would truly usurp her current position in the family. Dawn, you have hands and feet, and you've read so many wise books. How can you stay home doing nothing? All right, you go quickly. Just remember to bring me some local specialties when you come back. Seeing Grace fall into my trap, I smiled radiantly. Yes, Grace, I'll remember. Just wait for my gifts. Brenda tried to object, but Grace spoke up first. Brenda, afraid of affecting Grace's appetite, couldn't go against her wishes. She decided to bring it up again when Leo was home and let me leave. I grabbed my suitcase and left the house without looking back. It wasn't until I stepped into the elevator that I finally breathed a sigh of relief. At last, I was temporarily free from that filthy house. As soon as I found a place to stay, Leo's call came in. Dawn, your sister-in-law keeps insisting on getting a cow's stomach. I'm not well educated, what do you think? Is this feasible? What if something goes wrong with a cow's stomach inside a person? Hearing Leo's words, I couldn't help but sneer inwardly. My brother was such a hypocrite, wanting to use Grace to bring him luck, but unwilling to bear any consequences. Leo, Grace is the most experienced at bringing you good fortune. You'd best not meddle. What if you ruin your luck? Haven't you and Mom always said I'm just a money-wasting girl? You'd best not involve me in such an important decision of yours. Before I even finished speaking, Leo, without even saying goodbye, hastily hung up, as if afraid I would truly jinx his fortune. I looked at the disconnected call screen, raising an eyebrow. For someone with such deeply ingrained feudalistic beliefs, I knew I had to use superstition to defeat him. My previous job paid poorly, and I often worked overtime. In this life, I simply wanted to live happily and freely, so I quit immediately. After a month of blissful relaxation, I received a call from my mother. Dawn, tomorrow is my birthday, and your business trip must be over, right? Remember to come home for dinner. Brenda's voice sounded very tired, even more so than before. Yes, Mom, I'm flying tonight. I'll be home tomorrow morning. I didn't refuse. In fact, I was very much looking forward to tomorrow's gathering. Without my interference, Grace must have already gotten her cow's stomach, hadn't she? The next day, I carried several large bags of local specialties I bought for Grace back home. The moment I entered, I was startled by Grace sitting at the dining table. Layers upon layers of fat accumulated on her body, and her belly was as large as a woman's 10 months pregnant. Seeing me, Grace patted her stomach proudly. Dawn, now I can eat dozens of bowls of pork hock every day, and when I'm not eating, I can even ruminate like a cow. My weight has finally surpassed 200 kilograms. I suppressed the nausea rising in my stomach and smiled, congratulating her. Grace, you're amazing. Leo is truly blessed to have married you. Leo, head tilted back, swallowed a mouthful of white liquor, his entire body swaying. Grace certainly brings me prosperity, but continuing the family line is also a big deal. The Vu family's vast fortune cannot be without a son to inherit it. Hearing Leo's words, Grace immediately blushed, embarrassed. Husband, I'm always ready. I'm just waiting for you to sow the seeds. Leo gave Grace's layers of fat a look of disgust, then tossed a few peanuts into his mouth. I can't stomach a lump of meat as big as you. I called Dawn back today so she can take you to the hospital tomorrow for a checkup. If there are no problems, we'll proceed with IVF. Grace stopped chewing, disappointed. Since she got fat, she had never enjoyed intimacy. Husband, why don't we try it ourselves first? Who knows, it might work. Besides, you haven't touched a woman in so long, you'll ruin yourself if you keep suppressing it. With every word Grace spoke, the flesh on her face jiggled 3 times. Leo looked at her with revulsion. He angrily swept the plate of peanuts in front of him to the floor. Grace, I think you're flying too high. How dare you lecture me? Am I to be suffocated by my own urine if I don't follow your advice? I have my own ways of solving things. Enough talk, just do as I say. Even though Grace considered herself a great contributor to the Vu family, she dared not defy Leo. Speaking those few words had taken all her courage. Seeing Leo angry, she quickly apologized. Husband, I'm sorry, it's my fault. Please don't get angry and harm yourself. I'll listen to you. HMPH, just looking at you makes me lose my appetite. I'm not eating anymore. Leo threw down his chopsticks, stood up, and slammed the door as he left. Brenda, seeing Leo storm off in anger, shot Grace a sidelong glance. Grace, you'd best know your place. Your husband is your sky. If I ever hear you talk back to him again, I'll tear your mouth apart. I'm sorry, Mom. I know I was wrong. Are there any more poor cocks? I'm not full yet. Since having the cow's stomach, Grace's belly had become a bottomless pit. She hadn't even swallowed the mouthful she had, and she was already hungry again. Eat, eat, eat. Even pigs don't eat as much as you. If you want to eat, go make it yourself. I'm not waiting on you anymore. Brenda ripped off her apron and threw it to the ground, then, like Leo, stormed out, slamming the door. Grace, like a scolded child, looked at me piteously. Dawn, I've eaten myself into this state, neither human nor ghost, all for this family. Am I really wrong? I avoided Grace's pitiful gaze, reminding myself never to soften. In my past life, I felt a kinship with her suffering and dedicated myself to her. Not only was she ungrateful, but she heartlessly caused my death. A pitiful person always has something hateful about them. Grace was truly an ingrate. Grace, Mom and Leo aren't really angry with you. Once you give birth to a child for our Vu family, your position will be completely secure. Right. Dawn is still the clever one. Tomorrow we'll go to the hospital for the checkup. The summer night was hot and muggy. On the small bed on the balcony, I tossed and turned, unable to sleep. In the quiet night, Leo's snores and Grace's chewing filled the air. Only when dawn broke did I finally drift off to sleep. Suddenly, I felt a sharp kick in my ribs. You wretched girl, get up now and cook for your sister-in-law. If I had known you were so lazy, I should have drowned you in a chamber pot when you were little. I woke up with a start, seeing Brenda standing with her hands on her hips, glaring at me. Mom, Grace has to have a blood test today, so she needs to fast. Brenda frowned. How can she not eat? What if it affects Leo's luck? Mom, just one skipped meal won't hurt, I'm sure. Besides, getting you a grandchild is just as important. I subtly glanced at Grace's obese figure, then deliberately raised my voice. Honestly, Leo is too kind. With his status now, countless women would want to bear his child. Who would want that fat pig, Grace, to give birth? She eats so much grease every day, I'm afraid she'll give birth to a monster just like herself. Seeing Brenda fall into my trap, I quickly added fuel to the fire. Mom, Grace has sacrificed so much for our family. How can you say such things about her? She'll be heartbroken if she hears this. How dare she? I'm her mother-in-law. You wretched girl, why are you telling me these useless things? Hurry up and get up to cook. Even if you two don't eat, your brother and I still have to. Oh, Grace, when did you get here? You didn't hear everything I said to Mom, did you? I called out in feigned panic behind my mother. Brenda quickly turned her head, only to see Grace, face streaming with tears, looking at her. Mom, so that's how you really think of me. If you hate me for being fat, then I won't eat anymore, Grace said, punching her large belly with force. Brenda rushed over and grabbed her hand. No, Grace, don't. Mother was just speaking carelessly. Don't take it to heart. It's all that conniving Dawn's fault for stirring up trouble. In my heart, you are, of course, the best daughter-in-law. Even if you gave me a fairy, I wouldn't trade you. Even though Grace was superstitious, she wasn't completely brainless. Mom, did you really say you'd let someone else bear a child for Leo just now? Did I mishear? The Vu family's precious grandchild must come from my womb. Even if other vixen want to give birth, Mom, you'll chase them away with a big broom, right? Having received my mother's assurance, Grace finally smiled. Mom, don't worry, I'll definitely give you several fair-skinned, chubby grandsons. Brenda hid the disdain in her eyes and continued to shower Grace with compliments. After appeasing Grace, I drove her to the hospital. Her body was no longer suitable for walking, so she had to sit in a specially made wheelchair. I pushed her, running up and down the hospital corridors. The final test results showed that her body was not only unfit for pregnancy, but even normal living was extremely difficult. Grace was terrified by the doctor's words. She clutched my hand. Dawn, the doctor said if I don't control my eating and lose weight, I'll die. What should I do now? Grace, this pile of flesh on you is common property between you and Leo. You two should discuss it. How can I have any say? I changed the subject, pointing to two people at the clinic door and exclaiming in surprise. Hey, isn't that Leo? Grace looked in the direction I pointed, just in time to see my brother hugging a slender young woman as he entered the obstetrics and gynecology department. Dawn, quickly push me over there. Grace, don't rush, maybe we saw it wrong. After all, Leo loves you so much. My mouth said one thing, but my hands pushed the wheelchair in pursuit. In this life, Grace had undergone the cow's stomach surgery and gained weight rapidly. Leo, disgusted by her appearance, completely lost interest in her physically and committed the same mistake all men do. When I pushed Grace to the entrance of the obstetrics and gynecology department, we ran right into Leo and the slender woman beside him. I immediately recognized her as Leo's assistant, Lily. Grace angrily tried to stand up from her wheelchair, but her legs couldn't bear her body weight. With a thump, she fell heavily to the floor. Leo quickly pulled Lily back a few steps, then roared at me, Dawn, what gave you the nerve to follow me? My father died young, and I worked with my mother from a young age to support my brother. Yet, whenever he was displeased, he would beat me. Even having lived another life, whenever Leo raised his fist or spoke a little louder, I would still instinctively tremble. Leo, brother, I wasn't following you. I brought Grace to the hospital for her checkup. Grace, quickly get up. Grace was like a small mountain, completely beyond my petite strength to lift. In the end, we needed the help of doctors and nurses to get her back into the wheelchair. Grace, trembling, pointed at Lily. Husband, who is she? Why are you bringing her to the obstetrics and gynecology department? Leo still needed Grace to bring him luck, so he couldn't let her discover his relationship with Lily just yet. Grace, don't misunderstand. I was worried about the dangers of you getting pregnant, so I came up with a solution that would be good for everyone. After our IVF is successful, we'll implant the embryo into my assistant's uterus to develop. Today, I brought her here for tests to see if her body is suitable. Everyone around, watching the commotion, knew Leo was lying, but Grace, the one directly involved, naively believed him. Husband, you're so good to me. Marrying you in this life is truly a blessing accumulated over several lifetimes. Leo feigned intimacy, patting Grace's fleshy back. You're my lawfully wedded wife. If I'm not good to you, then who would I be good to? All right, it's getting late. Have Dawn take you home. Oh, and remember to make up for breakfast. If you get hungry and lose weight, I'll be heartbroken. Grace nodded shyly. Husband, don't worry, I won't let myself go hungry. I took Grace home then. While Brenda and Grace weren't paying attention, I slipped out. Leo could run a food factory, which proved he wasn't completely stupid. He certainly wouldn't entirely believe my explanation at the hospital today. If I didn't leave, a beating would surely await me. As I lay comfortably enjoying the air conditioning in my room, a call came from an old colleague. Dawn, your mother and brother came to the company looking for you. They even threatened to get you fired. You wouldn't believe it when they found out you'd already quit a long time ago. Their faces were awful. Honey, thanks for telling me so much. If they dare cause trouble again, just call the police. No sooner had I hung up with my old colleague than Leo's call came in. This time, I didn't refuse but pressed the answer button. The moment the call connected, Leo's roar came through. Dawn, do you want to die? How dare you not answer your phone, not reply to messages, and even play hide-and-seek with us? Get your butt back here obediently, or I have many ways to deal with you. After Leo finished venting his anger, I began to sob aggrievedly. Boo-hoo, Leo, I'm sorry. I didn't want to sneak away, but I got sick. And it's contagious. I was afraid of implicating everyone. Dawn, have you learned to lie now? When you get back, I'll definitely beat you to death. Leo clearly didn't believe me, so I continued to cry. All right then, if you all aren't afraid, I'll come back right now. Wait, Brenda's urgent voice came from the other end of the line. Leo, that girl has been afraid of your beating since she was little. She wouldn't dare lie to you. Last time she came home, she did seem a bit off. There was a red rash on her neck. I saw it, it looked disgusting, so I didn't look closely. Now that I think about it, could it be some dirty disease? Brenda's words successfully scared Leo. He yelled, demanding to see a doctor, muttering as he hung up. I tossed my phone aside, touching my smooth neck, a smirk playing on my lips. Before returning home, I had prepared thoroughly. A rash resembling scabies on my neck, better safe than sorry. For a while, they wouldn't let me back into the house. With temporary peace, I decided to pursue my dream from college. I had always wanted to be a scriptwriter. Now, with time on my hands, I decided to give it a try. A month passed quickly, and the first script of my life was submitted. While waiting for a response from the platform, Grace's call came in. Dawn, is your illness cured? I have good news to share with you. Your brother and I successfully underwent IVF. The baby is now in his assistant's womb. Grace was truly easy to fool. Leo had never intended to spend money on IVF. The baby in Lily's womb was not Grace's, but Leo's and Lily's. A month ago, when Leo took Lily to the obstetrics and gynecology department, the baby must have already been there. Of course, I wouldn't tell Grace the truth, because she deserved all of this. Congratulations, Grace. You're going to be a mother soon. It's a pity I don't have money for treatment, so I probably won't be able to watch my nephew grow up. Grace, could you ask Leo to transfer some money to me? What did you say? The signal isn't very good here. I'll hang up first. Grace, like Leo, hastily hung up, afraid I would cling to her. I was used to the heartlessness of these people, so I felt no sadness. On the contrary, it was a release. If they had been kind to me, I might have felt guilty when I exacted my revenge. This way was much better. While writing my script, I kept an eye on news from Grace's side. When the baby in Lily's womb was almost 6 months old, the police brought Brenda and Leo to find me. It turned out I had never told them my address. They had used the excuse of my disappearance to report me to the police. After the police left, Brenda and Leo, wearing masks, stood far away from me. Dawn, your illness must be cured by now, right? Can you come home with Mom? Unsolicited kindness usually meant trouble. I shook my head bitterly. Because I don't have money for a complete cure, it keeps recurring. Mom, Leo, you two came at a good time. Can you lend me some money? Leo was about to hit me, but Brenda pulled his arm back. Dawn, all of Leo's money is tied up in merchandise. Once we sell the goods, we'll definitely take you to the doctor. Mom misses you. Can we just go home first? Saying this, Brenda even feigned 2 drops of tears. If I hadn't known her true colors, I would have been fooled by her. Mom, Leo, if you two don't despise me, I'll pack my things and go with you right away. I put important items I bought online into my bag and followed Brenda and Leo home. After several months away, the house had changed quite a bit. The luxury items Leo used to show off were gone. The bowl of pork hock in front of Grace had been replaced with fresh green vegetables. Mom, I've been eating vegetarian lately, and not only am I not gaining weight, but I've lost quite a bit, Grace complained, aggrieved. You useless thing, cows eat grass and produce milk, didn't you get a cow's stomach? Why aren't you as ambitious as a cow? Grace was startled, her entire flabby body trembling. Mom, trust me, if I just get 50 kilograms fatter, Leo's career will definitely bounce back. Grace's words made me realize everything. It turned out Leo's company had gone bankrupt earlier than expected. This time, they lured me back, probably intending to sell me off. But they were thinking too simply. I wouldn't let them manipulate me at will. Shut up, listening to you is annoying. Get back to your room. We're having esteemed guests soon. Leo's bankruptcy directly caused Grace's status in the family to plummet. Brenda no longer doted on her, no longer wearing a pleasant expression. I saw Grace on the verge of tears from the scolding, so I quickly ran to Brenda and grabbed her arm, trying to mediate. Mom, although Leo's career has hit a snag, you'll soon have a grandnephew, won't you? Brenda violently shook my hand off, her expression becoming even uglier. I knew something was wrong with this. I probed her. Mom, is there something wrong with my nephew? Dawn, this is not something you should ask. Get into the kitchen and cook. Our esteemed guest will be here soon. Leo swung his fist at me, signaling that if I asked again, he would beat me to death. 2 hours later, the last dish was served. Leo's esteemed guest had also arrived. He was a middle-aged man, bald with a potbelly, his mouth full of yellow teeth when he spoke, exuding a foul odor. Mr. Zhang, this is my daughter, Dawn. Not only is she a university student, but she's still a virgin. I was forcefully pushed by Brenda towards the middle-aged man, nearly bumping into his bulging belly. Mr. Zhang looked me up and down, then nodded in satisfaction. Not bad, little girl. Here, have a drink with me first. Under the gaze of several pairs of eyes, I had to force myself to take a small sip. Leo and Brenda exchanged glances, then relaxed and began to ply Mr. Zhang with food and drink. Very quickly, my head began to spin. Before I fell off the chair, Brenda guided me to her room. An hour later, I opened the room door in a panic and yelled down the hallway, "Oh no, we have a thief!" The neighbors, hearing the commotion, enthusiastically grabbed tools and rushed over to catch the thief. Brenda's room door was forcefully kicked open. When people saw the scene inside, some couldn't help but gasp in shock. Good heavens, what a mess! Not only does that Leo raise his fat wife like that, but he causes such chaos. What strange tastes. The neighbors' shouts were too loud, waking Brenda, who was sleeping in another room. When she pushed through the crowd and peered inside, she saw 2 naked men on the bed. Her eyes rolled back and she fainted. When Brenda regained consciousness, the neighbors had all left. The bald Mr. Zhang had not only beaten Leo, but also smashed everything he could in the house. Brenda looked at the bruised and battered Leo, then at the chaotic scene on the floor, slapped her thigh, and cursed, "Dawn, you wretched conniving bitch, you plotted against us, didn't you?" I immediately shook my head vigorously. Mom, I don't know anything. It must have been the alcohol. I passed out after drinking it and had no idea so much happened. No, you're lying. Clearly, the person in the room was supposed to be you, so how did it end up being your brother? Brenda blurted out the truth in her haste. I didn't blame her. On the contrary, I held her hand with feigned emotion. Mom, I always thought you favored Leo, but only today do I understand that you love me more. You knew Leo's company was in crisis and needed Mr. Zhang's help, but you were afraid Mr. Zhang would take advantage of me, so you swapped Leo in instead. Leo, in agony all over, heard my words and immediately exploded in rage, slapping Brenda's face repeatedly. You wretched old woman, how dare you plot against me? Today I'll beat you to death. Brenda had always considered Leo her life. During times when the family had no food, she met all of Leo's demands. Now, being beaten by her most pampered son, she must have been in more pain emotionally than physically. Husband, don't hit Mom anymore. I saw it all. It was all Dawn's doing. Grace slid over in her wheelchair, angrily pointing at me. Leo stopped hitting Brenda, turning towards me. Well, so it was this conniving bitch who plotted this. Let's see if I beat you to death today. Since everyone knew, I no longer needed to pretend. I pulled out the electric baton I had prepared in my bag and grinned at the 3 of them. Come on, let's see who dies first. Leo was already badly injured, and now I had a weapon in my hand. He was no match for me at all. Although he was furious, he didn't dare take a single step forward. Grace was so angry she wanted to crush me with her obese body. Dawn, we are your elders. How dare you be so disrespectful to us? Quickly throw away that electric baton and kneel to beg for our forgiveness. Grace, you are truly foolish, almost adorable. Mom and Leo completely exploited you, and you're still speaking up for them. Let me tell you the truth. Leo never actually did IVF with you. The baby in his assistant's womb isn't yours either, it's his and the assistant's. Disbelief filled Grace's eyes. You're lying. With my ability to bring prosperity, Leo has no reason not to continue the family line with me. You're just trying to sow discord between us. Grace, the saying, the fatter the wife, the luckier the husband, was always a lie. You're still just as fat, but hasn't Leo still gone bankrupt? The mockery in my eyes seemed to materialize, scoffing at Grace's ridiculous persistence over the years. Oh, it's not like that. It must be because I'm not fat enough. I want to eat. Grace, as if mad, wheeled herself frantically towards the kitchen. but because of her speed, she and the wheelchair both toppled over. She lay on the ground like a rotten pile of meat. Without help from others, she could only wait to die. "Dawn, I can't get up. Quickly, help me." Grace pitifully extended her hand towards me. Alas, I would never help her again. "Grace, everything that happened today is your own doing." "Mom, Leo, I have evidence that you two drugged me and conspired to have someone humiliate me. If you don't want to go to jail, don't bother me again." "Dawn, wait. It was Mom's fault before. Please, for the sake of me raising you, help your brother just one more time. Your brother was also deceived by that assistant. Not only did she get pregnant with an illegitimate child, but she also ran off with all the company's money." Brenda's words finally made me understand everything. In this life, I didn't advise Grace to lose weight, which led to Leo seeking another woman to bear his child. The result was not only being cuckolded, but also having his money stolen. In my previous life, I clearly changed their tragic outcome, yet they believed I had cut off their path to wealth. "Mom, you're not truly remorseful. You just want to use me to get bride price money. I'm leaving. You two can deal with yourselves." "Dawn, you white-eyed wolf, you deserve 1,000 cuts. I'm your mother. How dare you abandon me and leave? I curse you to a terrible death." Brenda, seeing that kindness wouldn't work, resorted to curses. I didn't look back as I left that suffocating house. It was good. I would never have to return again. Escaping that rotten family, the script I wrote was finally signed. Everything was developing in a good direction. 3 months later, I walked out of a shopping mall and saw a crowd gathered by the roadside. Occasionally, a child's curious voice piped up. "Mommy, she's clearly a person. Why is she eating grass?" "SHHH, she's not a person, she's a monster. Remember to stay away from her, okay?" "Okay, Mommy, then let's hurry up and go." The crowd gradually dispersed, revealing Grace lying sprawled on the ground. Our eyes met across the space, and Grace was the first to look away. "Dawn, I remember my past life now. I wronged you, I'm sorry. I've received my punishment now. Can you help me just one more time?" Wearing my high heels, I walked step by step towards Grace, finally stopping a few paces from her. "Grace, people always fantasize and regret the path they didn't take. Unfortunately, it's all too late. I won't help you anymore." "No, Dawn, please don't go. I'm truly living a life worse than death now. Your mother threw me out on the street to beg for money to support her and Leo. They don't even give me food. I have no other choice but to eat grass." Grace's situation was truly pathetic, but I in my past life died an unjust death, which was even more pitiful. I walked straight ahead without looking back, extinguishing Grace's last hope. Before leaving this city, I received a phone call from the police.